The Sealed Book of Mormon, chapter 71. But now it must needs be that I return once again to the time period of the Romans, of which John hath written, and whose history I have seen in the words of the brother of Jared. And it is this thing that is expedient that I explain unto you regarding the beast, who had the wound by the sword, and did live. For the beast to which John refereth is the Roman government, and the principles upon which this government is established. For the Romans are an exceedingly proud and prosperous people, according to the things of the world, which are the blessings of Satan, the god of the world. And when the Roman government fell, all the nations of the world were astounded at its fall, and wondered after it, even reasoning amongst themselves what was the cause of its fall from the power and glory that it had received from the dragon. But the world was under the power of Satan. Therefore the nations of the world did not believe that it was Lucifer who had given these things unto the Romans, but that they had received these things from God. And in this they were correct. Nevertheless, the God who gave them these things was Lucifer, the dragon, of whom John speaketh, whose tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, or in other words, the spirit children of the Father, who followed Lucifer and cast them to the earth. Yea, these are the devil and his angels. And the principles of the government of Rome were those things which were coveted by other nations. For other nations began to study the formation of the Roman Empire, and take from it the basis for the foundations of their own governments. And the great European empire of the latter days shall be established and formed according to many of the things that it shall learn from the form of government of the Romans, whose great empire shall be wounded by the sword, but then healed by the great and abominable church that was formed by the devil. And from this seventh empire, according to the words of John, the eighth beast shall come forth and establish itself as the seat in which Satan shall wield his power in the last days. And in that day, even in the day when these things shall come forth unto you, Satan shall have great power over the whole earth. And the people of the latter days shall believe that they are worshipping the Father, when in reality they are worshipping Lucifer and following the course that he has set for them by his power and according to his plan. And in that day Satan shall be the God in whom they trust, and Satan shall convince the world that he is not the devil, but that he is the God of the world. And he shall also convince them that the Lord is not the Christ, but that he is the devil. For they shall change the words of Christ and misinterpret them, and begin to live their lives according to the commandments which they shall receive from their God, who is Lucifer. And by the words of Christ they shall not abide. And any who do abide by the words of Christ shall be mocked and persecuted and judged, that these works of Christ which they do are the works of the devil, the true Christ being the devil unto the world, according to the convincing power that Satan hath over them. And I have already explained unto you the meaning of the mark of the beast and the number of his name. And these things pertain to gold and silver, which is the money and the possessions of those who dwell upon the earth. And it shall come to pass that all the nations of the earth shall be in pursuit of money and lands and the fine things of the world. And in their desires for these things they shall separate themselves into these great nations that shall make war one with another, and cause that many of the inhabitants of the earth shall perish in the wickedness of their hearts. And the reasons for many of these wars, if not all of them, is because of money and pride, and the loss of love that one should have for one another. For the children of men, being divided into these great nations, shall begin to think of themselves above those of the other nations of the earth. And the accumulation of wealth shall be the desires of all the inhabitants of the earth, and those that have not shall envy that which they do not have, and those who have shall not be satisfied with their abundance, but shall continually strive for more riches, that they might be set alone in the earth, and receive the honours that other men shall bestow upon them because of these riches. And now John explaineth all of these things in the revelation that he hath given concerning the latter days and the end of the world. Yea, all of the holy prophets who have seen the last days have testified of the great wickedness that shall exist upon the whole earth in the latter days. And there hath not been any prophet who hath prophesied that righteousness shall increase in the latter days, and that those of the latter days are the most blessed of all the children of God. But they have prophesied of the great wickedness that shall abound before the coming of the Lord, in the glory that the Father hath given unto him. And the prophets were forbidden that they should reveal these things in their visions, except it be through symbolism, so that only the righteous might receive their words and understand. Yea, these prophets also saw the miracles of science and technology that Satan shall introduce in the last days, being allowed by the Father to give these things unto the world, that he might have this final chance to prove his plan. And these prophets understood this power of God, and could have revealed this great power and knowledge at any time unto the children of men, if it would have helped them to become more righteous. But these things that are given to the world in the latter days by Satan have not made the people more righteous, but have caused them even more wickedness than at any other time in the history of the children of men. And I shall write unto you much more concerning these things later in this record. But now it is expedient that we return once again to the abridgment that I have been commanded to make of the words of the brother of Jared, and follow the course of the history of the world, so that it might be revealed unto you how Satan managed to turn the hearts of the children of men from the Father. And upon the earth there was no nation like unto the Roman Empire, that filled a fourth part of the earth with its power and its glory. And at the time of its glory it became the throne of Satan. And John maketh mention of the beginnings of the principles of the government and the monetary economy of the great Roman Empire. For the Greeks were those who first introduced many of these principles to the world. And John wrote of Pergamos, calling it the seat of Satan, because of its works. And now, my brothers and sisters, do ye not know that all nations of the world look to the Romans as the standard of peace and prosperity and righteousness that should be followed by the whole world? Do ye not know that the Romans were the envy of all other nations upon the earth, and also the envy of the people of the earth, because of that which the people believed were the highest standards and quality of living upon the earth? Yet even so, their manner of government and the principles of the republic for which they stood were an abomination before God. And the Lord condemned the seat of Satan according to the words of John, specifically denouncing the works of they who hold the doctrine of Balaam, which was that doctrine that was passed down by Benelli through Cain. And it was written of them, saying, Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam. For these are murmurers and the complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words, holding the persons of men in admiration, because of the advantage that they have over another. And the Lord also condemned the works of the Nicolaitans, who were an order of men after the order of Cain, that represented the hierarchy of a ruling class over the rest of the people, developing an unrighteous order of fleshly leadership dedicated to the secret combinations of old, which were mentioned throughout the record of my father. And these are the same orders of men set up among the Romans, having their Caesars and their senators and their councilmen and the definers of the law, who deceive and manipulate the people for their own gain. And they had their censors and consuls and their proconsuls and their praetor and propraetor, and thus were the leaders of the people called, who were elected by the voice of the people to serve them. And these were of the rich, who were called patricians by the Roman people, and these were the few who owned all the land, and sought gain from the laws which they enacted among the people. But these did not serve the true needs of the people, but were elected by them because of their flattering words and their rhetoric, which enticed the people and deceived them into thinking that their ways were righteous and just. And unto those of you of the latter days, who are the citizens of that great nation which shall rise out of the earth with a horn like a lamb, deceiving the people that it is a lamb, but being the seat of Satan of the latter days. Behold, the leaders of this great nation shall also follow the ways of the Nicolaitans, and follow the course of Balaam, which was passed down to them from one generation of the earth to the other, from Benelli and Cain, who first established this order of government among the children of men. And I have seen your works, and know that your works are even more deceitful and wicked than the works of the secret combinations of old, which deceived the people for great personal gain and power. And ye have your Republicans and your Democrats, your presidents and vice presidents, and senators and congressmen, and all those who support the principles of Satan, which are principles of the rich ruling over the poor, and taking advantage of another because of the blessings of wisdom and power that they have received from your God, who is Satan. And this great nation of the latter days shall be like unto the Roman Empire in the day of its grandeur. And for a time the world shall behold this great latter-day nation with great wonder. And the world shall hold it above all other nations of the earth as the standard that it hath set above all others. And the people of this nation shall be like unto the Romans, who thought of their nation as the greatest nation upon the face of the earth, and their Caesar as the most powerful leader upon the earth. And like unto the Romans, it shall have the power of its armies and its navies to destroy any nation that cometh up to battle against it. And it shall go to battle with all the nations of the earth, even against those that raise up a standard which is contrary to the standard that they have set for the world. And the standard that they shall set shall be a standard of material pleasures and easiness of living, and a promise to the whole earth that all can be rich and powerful like unto it, if the people will fall down and worship the beast whom it worshippeth. And the people of this nation, like unto the Romans, shall believe that their nation is a nation united under God, and that it cannot be divided or conquered because of its great armies and navies. And it shall deceive the people into believing that it offereth liberty and justice for all. Now, even these words which I have written shall be the pledge of allegiance to this nation, that those who worship this nation shall say with their own mouths. And with this pledge they deceive themselves, and know not that they are pledging their allegiance to Satan. And this they do because they have his mark in their right hands and in their foreheads, and have denied the true words of Christ, and follow after a God and a Christ that have been given unto them by Satan. For he is the great deceiver and the beast, and the false prophet, who shall issue forth the flattery of his words unto the people, even those words that the people will accept. And I have seen the flag which this great nation shall raise in its land, to show unto the earth the works which it hath done. And the people shall worship this flag as a representation of the standard that they have accepted for themselves. And the flag shall be white, symbolizing the righteousness that is claimed of this nation. And this righteousness shall be stained with the blood of the righteous, whom it persecuteth, and also of its own sons, who have ignorantly fought that this standard might prevail over all other standards of the earth. And this blood shall be symbolized on their flag as red stripes that lay over the background of righteousness that it proclaimeth. And in the corner thereof there shall be stars, which represent the people, even according to the words of John which he wrote, saying, And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And these stars shall be of the white background, or of the righteousness that they have proclaimed in and of themselves, but they shall be found in the field of darkness, which symbolizeth the great deception and ignorance of the people who honour and pledge allegiance to this flag, all the people being in darkness and in captivity by the chains of Satan. And these things are in the exact likeness of those things which existed during the greatness of the Roman Empire. And now, my beloved brothers and sisters, can ye now see how much power and control over the minds and hearts of the children of men that Satan hath? Do ye not see how ye have been deceived by him? And there will be those who wonder how these great nations which I have mentioned can be so prosperous, yet be so wicked. And now I have already explained to you that the blessings of Satan are prosperity for those who follow his plan and do his will, but peace they shall not have. And ye shall see that any nation that followeth the plan of Lucifer shall not have peace. Yea, a nation might think that it hath peace because it is powerful, and no other nation can stand against it in war. But this is not the peace that the Father hath promised to those who follow his plan. And if ye look at the people of these nations, which seem to be peaceful and prosperous, ye shall find that the people within them are not peaceful, but are unhappy and disconcerted with their lives. Behold, Satan can most assuredly bless a nation with wealth and security from other nations, and give unto the people of a nation a great sense of patriotism and respect for their nation, and this he accomplisheth through the emotions of their hearts. But the people of this nation of Satan shall not love one another according to the words of Christ. And because they cannot love one another, they shall never find the peace and happiness that they desire. And because they cannot find this happiness according to things which are spiritual, they shall seek this happiness from the things of the world, which are the many blessings that Satan shall give unto them. But I have already explained to you that these blessings are temporary reprieves from the causes of misery that a nation under Satan shall experience. But if a nation followeth after the plan of God, and keepeth the commandments that he hath given to his children, that will lead them to everlasting peace and happiness, then it would not matter if their enemies rose up against them and killed them, for they would die in the Lord. Now, this is the thing that was mentioned in the record of my father concerning the Lamanites, who laid down their arms and would not defend themselves against those who were wont to destroy them. And was it not said of them that they were the most righteous souls that ever lived upon the earth? Yea, they truly lived in happiness and died in happiness, and shall be raised in happiness according to all their desires of happiness, which have been promised them by the Father. But those who follow Satan do the will of Satan, not the will of the Father. Therefore they shall experience the happiness of him whom they serve. And Satan shall set up this great nation of the latter days, and deceive all the children of men therein. And there shall be some who have the mark of the Lamb in their foreheads, but they shall be few. And those who do not belong to the great and abominable church of the devil shall have the peace of the Spirit that the Father hath promised to all of his children who keep his commandments. And John wrote further concerning this great nation under Satan in the last days, and he wrote, saying, And the beast that was, and is not, and yet is, hath given his full power unto an eighth, and this eighth is of the seventh, and this eighth shall worship the beast, and this beast is he that goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And these things have I already given an explanation of previously in this record. But there are words of John that I have not yet explained unto you. And he wrote, saying, These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them at the last day. For he is Lord of lords, and King of kings. And they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.